In the Round is all about highlighting musicians on their music journey. Whether they're local, regional, or touring coast to coast, they all have great stories to tell. We're looking for the stories that allow us to get to know them in a different light. The funny, the heartwarming, all the lows and highs, and of course the music that was born from that journey. Hey, I'm Dee, I'm a musician, I'm a music lover, and I'm your host. Let's jump right in. Scoot it up,
yeah.
right
you know,
there.
and then a tick, 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 tick. Yeah, a little bit quieter on the boop, boop, boop. Scatting.
Yes, I do the same thing. Yeah.
No more.
There's no scat in her music.
Trigger word. Sorry.
I'm being triggered. So you don't cover Scatman is what you're saying?
I don't. I would like, maybe at some point. Maybe.
I think that'd be a sultry version of that would be hilarious. I can't even imagine.
That's funny.
Well, we are in the round with Annie Kemble. Thank you so much for being here, Annie.
Of course. Thanks for having me.
Oh, absolutely. You're, of course, someone that came to mind when we thought of wonderful, talented people who we could talk to and bring into the Trilix Studio. How was that today? We're on the Steinway, right?
Yes. Oh my gosh, it was so nice. I haven't played a piano like that in so long, so it was like such a treat.
And that piano is like 800 years old.
And it's haunted, I guess. They were telling me. So
Yeah.
I think I kind of felt the spirit of that.
Ah, that's amazing.
Yeah,
Okay.
it was awesome. It was so great to work with Phil. He's awesome.
I'm excited to hear kind of the resonance in that room.
Yeah.
What's surprising is it's not boomy. You know, it really, it kind of lives in the space. So I'm excited to hear, you know, what you play. Because you play piano, right? And you play guitar.
Yeah, I studied piano in school, so I'm better at piano for sure. But I do play a little bit of guitar, enough to like write a couple songs.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. It's nice to. I do that with a uke because again, I can't play guitar to save my life. But I do that too for different chord structures, right? Because I feel like you get into your habits of I play keys as well.
Yeah.
I actually loved you had a quote in a article about. I play piano, but not that well. So it's nice to like sit back and let other people shine.
Yes. I love having a pianist at the gig. I do.
Like somebody else and it's so much easier too to kind of go off the rails when you're not singing. It's really hard to sing and emote and you know, it's hard to do those things at once.
Doing both is not easy for sure.
Yeah.
But writing on the piano is great.
Yes.
Love it. Yeah.
Just sit down. And do you have like an upright at home or like an actual piano or your keyboard?
You know, I don't have a piano right now because I sold it to make a music video a couple months ago.
Yeah.
So I haven't played piano in a while. So I was like, well, we'll see how this goes today. But the song could not be easier. It's like 4 chords the whole time. So I'm like, okay, we'll be fine.
I can do it.
But I would like to get like an upright piano. I've been looking on Facebook Marketplace. So
yeah. Okay.
There's so many free ones.
The call out.
In a truck, please.
In a truck. And again, as a key player, I have my husband surprised me a few years back for my birthday and brought my childhood piano up.
Oh my gosh.
There is something totally different, you know, playing that Steinway. There's something totally different about those keys. That extra pressure actually gives you the ability to emote.
Yes, you have to really push into it.
Yeah,
that's when I started playing. I'm like, oh, I have to press the keys down. That's the whole thing. Got it. Okay.
I remember how to do this.
Yeah, but it really is. It's like, it feels like you're physically really doing something. And I don't know if it's like just the motion of the actual keys being weighted and, you know, and the foot pedal and the, I don't know. It's just something different about it.
Grandeur of
Gorgeous.
So,
yeah.
Okay, so tell us what you played today, because they're going to listen to it at the end.
Yes. I played my new song, Pink Limousine. It's the title track for my new album that's coming out.
Yes. Okay. When is the date of the release?
It's July 1st.
Okay.
So
beautiful.
pretty
Easy to
soon.
remember. I like it.
I just was like, let's just do that. You know? Yeah. I'm not going to do like a release show necessarily. I'm living in Illinois now, so I'm kind of like back and forth between a lot of things. But I love a good like early listening party because I can just make people listen to it all the way through.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. Before you judge me, listen to the whole thing.
Yeah. Right. Before you say anything.
Before you give me those dirty looks. Yeah. No, I'm kidding. But it's going to be wonderful. And Pink Limousine is the title track. Like that's the name of the album.
Yeah.
And I love that you kind of pre-released that and like hinted at that early on. Like you've been talking about it for a while instead of keeping its identity hidden.
Yeah.
And you've released some singles, I think all the way back since November or like late last year, kind of building up to that.
Yes. 2 singles from the album will be on on it as well.
So everyone can go hear those on Spotify, get a feel for it. Her debut album, if you missed it, is Dive Bar. Yes. So I want to get your hot take on your favorite.
So when Dive Bar came out, Dive Bar was written about the yacht club, technically, because I sang there a lot with bands, and I think it's...
Yacht Club in Des Moines.
The Yacht Club in Des Moines,
yes,
right. I forget.
There's an Iowa City one. Yeah.
Yes, the Yacht Club in Des Moines.
Love it.
I spent a lot of time there.
So back when the booths still like tore your jeans open because the springs were popping out. And, I love the wooden things.
The wooden thing is cool.
It's great.
Yeah. So that was like what I was thinking about when I wrote Dive Bar, but we did an early listening party for Dive Bar at Kathy's Irish Pub in Des Moines as well on Hickman. My best friend worked there, so we kind of got an in, and I knew a lot of the regulars from like hanging out there and stuff. So I think that one and the Yacht Club are like my top two.
I love that.
But the guy that owns Kathy's also owns the Fremont, so that's why I was kind of like, let's do the Fremont. It's a little bigger.
Yeah.
Still like pretty gross.
Oh yeah, but, totally.
You know,
like in the most lovable way.
Yeah,
we say it with reverence, with respect.
Definitely.
Yeah. So the Fremont hosted. They used to have the Monday Night Live, which is now moved to XBK, but they had like those free jam nights kind of open. And you just did Monday Night Live.
I did.
At
XBK.
How I got to do one of those. How fun is it?
Oh my gosh.
I mean, for the listeners, it's a really fun. Like they invite an artist like Annie to come, and it's not the usual backing band. You know, it's the house band essentially that learns your songs.
Yeah.
And Dave Ducharme-Jones plays, guitar, often rests on drum. I mean, they kind of switch some players out, but isn't it crazy to kind of hear your songs come to life in a different way?
It was so cool. And it was kind of like I got to pick like my favorite covers to do and, stuff that I thought people might like. I did like a lot of older songs, which I can't always get away with some crowds. But I think people really liked the covers I picked. And I got to do like a Black Crow song and,
Oh
so it was some Fleetwood Mac. And it was fun. It was super fun. And all of those guys are so talented and just like...
It's insane.
I'm like, you guys... And they were doing it like every week at one point, which is crazy.
Just learning a new band, a new set of songs every week. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. That is like craziness.
And even referencing music, anything that you do in that short time and get the feel. And I was blown away. It's such a fun experience for an artist.
Definitely.
This episode of In the Round is brought to you by Girls Rock Des Moines. Established in 2013, Girls Rock Des Moines empowers cis girls, women, non-binary, trans youth, and adults. They focus on self-expression, artistic agency, and creative autonomy. Their programs include mentoring in music and arts education, collaboration, performance, and production. Visit girlsrockdsm.org to learn more.
So you have a lot of jazz influence, of course, in what you do.
Yeah.
And also, I love that you say you're inspired by movies, because I feel that way too. Some of those stories, just influence you. But with jazz, is there like an old jazz song that, again, you can't cover, but it's like a song from that era that you would do if you could?
So many, I feel like. When I first graduated, I was doing a lot of just like jazz standard gigs where I was just singing jazz standards. And I do miss that a little bit. It did get a little bit, you can only sing all of me. A certain amount of times before you're like, I want none of me.
You're like, you give me fever every morning.
Exactly. I do love singing Fever too.
Oh yeah.
That one's so fun.
Classic.
Oh, I don't know. I think like Nina Simone's, a lot of her stuff was like kind of like my first like intro to like that whole world.
Yes.
And I just like her whole discography is just so good.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. And so there's other influences, maybe more recent. I mean, again, I'm sure you get Amy Winehouse all the time or, things like that. But
definitely.
Are there more contemporary artists too that you look up to?
Yeah, definitely Amy Winehouse, which I kind of, she was like my gateway to jazz a little bit too.
Oh, that's fun.
Because a lot of her earlier stuff is jazz standards. And I didn't know that until I figured out what jazz standards were, But definitely Amy Winehouse. Adele was like a huge one for me. I was like singing all of her songs on YouTube in like whatever year when I was like 13, like being horrible, like so like forcing my dad behind the camera.
Adele. I'm here. I know all that. Yeah,
I'm basically her. No way.
Yeah.
But Adele for sure. I'm trying to think. I love Lana Del Rey a lot.
Oh, yes.
Her songwriting is like so inspiring to me. And I feel like this album, definitely Pink Limousine, you can feel just like the imagery that she uses inspires me a lot too. So I think it leans towards her songwriting.
Oh, I really see that.
Yeah.
I love Lana, and I can see it because she has that kind of mix of, like you do. It almost looks like she lives in a movie, like from the 50s, but then she has like hip hop in there and funk and all that.
Different genres.
Yeah, right. And a really cool range. Like, so, I definitely see that.
Yeah.
Speaking of movies, I love this other quote is you were like, I love movies. I don't have the attention span for TV shows.
Yeah.
And what I loved about that is TV's kind of bite-sized to a point. You know, these like 30 minutes. But to your point, you gotta watch 80. You know, that's how they get you with the binge. You know, instead of just like immersing yourself for 2 hours or so in the content.
I do like some TV shows. I don't
Sure.
You know, not to be like, no TV. No TV in this house.
Big TV is going to hear about this. They're going to come after you.
Right, they're going to cancel me. But I don't know what it is. I feel like a movie I could just like, and then it's over with. I think that's maybe part of it is like I feel the resolve in it. Whereas like a TV show, I'm like, okay, but now I have to do it again.
Yeah, right.
When it's like that's what people like about it. I don't know. I don't know.
No, it's really fascinating though, and I think it's something that, like I said, I feel like it relates to songwriting.
Yeah.
I love that about your writing. Is it's so visceral when you are singing. It's like I can see the movie playing in my head, and I really love that. And I was like, it makes sense. That, you know, that's where you pull from. Are there other things that inspire you that write? You know, themselves or,
I feel like obviously my real life I pull from probably the most often, but I think beyond my real life, it's kind of like a mixture of my real life and like kind of like a fantasy life thing going on, you know, where it's kind of like, it's this, but it's better. You know what I mean? You know?
You can paint it how you want.
Right.
Yeah.
Just like delusions. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, everybody
living
has
those
them.
out. Yeah, absolutely.
And just kind of like, I can't do this, but like, what if I could?
Right.
You know? But
I love that, like leaning into, what do they call it? Like your intrusive thoughts?
Yes.
Yeah, but in sort of
Leaning
like a
into them.
fantasy story way.
Normalize intrusive thoughts.
Like if I had a pink limousine, I would roll around in, I could totally see you rolling around in a pink limousine all the time.
I need to find one, man. You can't find one anywhere. I looked.
Right. That would have been great. We could have edited it in post, so we just get a normal one.
Just like a green screen.
Okay, so you said you're living in Illinois
yes.
now. So you moved, because you're from Northeast, like small town
I'm
Iowa.
actually from like southern Iowa. I went to Swick in Creston. And then I'm from like Panora, which is like an hour away from here.
Got it. Okay. Got it. So Iowa, but moved to Illinois. Are you in Chicago, or are you like...
I'm in Aurora, so like suburb for now. But my friends moved out there and they're like, you want to come? I'm like, okay.
Okay,
you know,
sure.
I kind of wanted something new and...
No, it's always good to try something new, shake up your perspective.
Yeah.
Like Illinois, it's not like it's radically different.
Very similar.
We're close. Obviously, you talked about collaborating and how important that is. And I feel like this move, you know, meeting people in another area in Chicago or whatever, you're going to have to kind of regroup a backing band, I would say, right?
Yeah, that's kind of been my biggest problem with gigging. Because I like doing solo gigs, but it's just not the same for me. I mean, I just get tired of hearing my own voice, honestly. Like I want somebody else to play something because I'm like sick of it. So yeah, I don't have a band out there quite yet. But at some point,
Working
I'm sure.
on it.
Yeah. We'll figure it out.
There's connections.
You know.
Iowa and Chicago, folks, there's a lot of connections there.
Definitely. So. I have a lot of family out there too. So my grandpa's sister lives in Aurora. So I've been hanging out with her a lot, getting some breakfast with Gloria.
Oh my gosh, breakfast.
The sweetest woman in America. But anyway, my cousin.
It sounds like a podcast itself. You should just lean into that.
Breakfast with Gloria.
I love that you say you're sick of hearing your own voice all the time at your shows, because as Brooke and I were discussing earlier, you have an amazing voice. You have an incredible, I have this phrase where I like to Ursula people that have an amazing voice, like Little Mermaid style, singing to the shell. I mean,
you can have it. Sorry.
It's so funny because your voice is so, you know, it's unique but reminiscent. It's kind of this mix of like nostalgia but it's beautiful.
Thank you.
And really varied. And I love in some of your new singles, I heard some like extra push of, some high notes and that. Like I'm all about, power, but I love kind of the dichotomy of that because you have these really like sultry, stories kind of happening, but there's also this great brass hitting. And, it's fantastic. So
Thank you.
I love that you may not want to hear your voice. Everybody else does. I can just tell you that.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Of course. Okay, so for this album, are you putting it out? So I know you're not doing a release, but are you just putting it out digitally? I'm
gonna make CDs for sure. Okay. I would like to do records at some point. I know that a lot of people ask me about records for Dive Bar, and I just wasn't able to swing it. But I at some point would like to do some vinyls because that's such a great way to listen to it. And I think it deserves that,
Yeah, right.
So I do like it.
Yeah, you can just do a print later. No, but it's definitely an investment. And I think a lot of people don't realize that necessarily is, usually the cooler the merch, the more you got to front for it.
Definitely. Yeah, so definitely.
Kind of hard.
That kind of thing you got to do all at once. It's not like a made to order thing.
Right.
Which is,
Can't do one little vinyl copy.
Just do one vinyl. One vinyl, please. They'd be like, get out. Block your
get
number.
Out of here. Don't take it. I love it. Okay, so people will be able to order this. I know you have a Bandcamp, you have your .com site. Actually, Phil and I were just talking about that. You have some really fun graphics and things like that. Like the imagery is really great. Is that something that do you have a friend that you collaborate with on that, or is that all you?
So my friend Natalie, who I went to college with, she made the original website, and she had like a school project that she was doing. She's going to school for like marketing,
perfect.
and so she kind of used me as, she's like, can I please do? I'm like, please, I would like, I need that. So she like did a lot of the stuff for Dive Bar, pretty much like all of the marketing and like merch and stuff. And then
good to know people.
Oh my gosh, I was like, thank God. And then she's been pretty busy with school and stuff like over this past year. So I kind of just like started doing stuff. So I did the website. It's kind of a mess. I need to update it, but I always forget that I have a website.
Yeah,
it's, like,
it's something good to have as a musician, but not something you keep up.
Right.
It's
like, do people have websites as often? I feel like, I don't know.
It's kind of a mix. Well, and so many people use, Spotify and the streaming platforms to get you, to find you. Right. But I've found, especially if folks want to book you for shows, it's nice to kind of have that. But
professional.
No, I'm with you though. It's like 8 full-time jobs in one.
It is a lot of work.
Yeah.
To do all of it. Yeah.
I think people don't always think about that when, not only booking shows, in a new city, you're very well known in Des Moines and in Iowa and stuff, and you're breaking into a new market. You have to reestablish yourself there.
Yeah.
Again, they probably want to see your website. They want to see your followers. They want to see all that, So, but I want to say kudos because I think you do a really great job with your brand. Like, I think it's when you people could almost know what you sound like without hearing you first. You know what I mean? From your visual, it matches so well, and it's really fun.
Yeah.
It's got this "Diamonds Are a Girl's Best Friend." I mean, obviously, "Diamonds" is a song, but it's that kind of thing.
Yes.
And I love that.
Good.
And I think, and that takes work. Is what I'm trying to say too. Is sometimes I think people think that comes off easy, but it's like creating that not persona per se. I think you're very real and genuine when you perform. You're not putting on airs by any means, but
no, I know what you mean though. It's like you got to be like a whole package. I mean, and you don't have to be, but I think that's what people are looking for, and artists is like, oh, I want to be able to like kind of understand this person and like what they have going on. But it's like it's kind of weird to like I have been making an effort to do all the things that you're talking about. So it's very nice to hear you say that.
Yes.
But yeah, it is weird to be like, okay, who am I? What do I want to like come off as? You know what I mean? I feel like even like dressing up for things is like, do I want to be like more casual, or there's like a choice within everything. And I think as like an artist that is doing it, not all myself, because I do have help from friends and stuff, but it is kind of, I don't know. You look at an artist like Beyonce or Rihanna or whatever, and it's like there's so many people behind that.
Oh gosh,
there's so many moving parts, and so it's kind of like, how do I do this from the tippity top.
Yeah.
And it can be messy. It's got to be kind of messy at first. You know what I mean? It's like, it's not going to be perfect at all.
That's what I hope.
Yeah.
I would hope that, people can't have the same expectation when you're an independent artist, trying to do that.
Yeah.
And what you were saying earlier, though, makes sense about kind of like a package deal, like because again, especially when you're trying to break into a new market or get in front of new people, it's like our attention spans are so short that you need to just immediately make that impact. And, I think you do that. And I think your voice does that. I think as soon as people hear notes come out of your mouth, they're like, oh, yeah,
that makes sense. Well, thank you. That's fun.
Do you like playing, obviously got your start kind of in dive bars, or like that was a core element of, places to gig. Is that kind of how you want to continue? Have you done any big like orchestral shows? You just have such a wide range of instrumentation.
I haven't really done like a big orchestral thing yet. We were talking about wanting to do like a big band kind of
like a jazz
night thing going on at like Noche or something. But yeah, I think my heart will always be in the little dive bar.
Yeah.
But I mean, I would love to do bigger shows. That would kind of
have the backing, the like jazz band behind, and
be really fun.
Yeah,
it's kind of hard to do. I mean, there's just again like so many moving parts within that whole thing, and the sound, and it's just it's hard to hear with a big band.
Yes,
so that's the only thing that I love playing the little intimate shows because I can just hear everything better.
Right. Right.
So
depends on how you position them in the room. Yeah. You're relying on a sound person that you hope is wonderful.
Right.
All of these elements. And I think it also ties back into the costs associated with being an independent artist. Like in-ears are expensive. Those in-ear monitors. What I'm talking about. Like when you see artists touch their ear, that's what I'm talking about. But those types of things are so valuable when you have that kind of instrumentation. But it's like you can't just cough up $1,000 for those out of nowhere.
I've never had
the system
those.
and
it's wild.
So that's fair. Yeah. And I think your music really lends itself to like an intimate experience. Anywhere where there's some locals that just like to enjoy.
Yes.
So you're in Illinois now, probably going to be doing some shows over there, but not going to leave Iowa behind, of course.
Yes.
You'll be back for that.
Definitely.
I noticed this, you said your dad, played music a lot, encouraged you to do it even?
Yeah. He, so it was funny because when I did that interview, and it was kind of like rushed and, and I love my dad to death. I love him. And after I did the interview, I was like, I have to call my mom right now because it's going to come out and it's going to be like, it sounds like I don't have a mom.
Yeah.
And of course, and it comes out and it's like, father, and he did.
Father is reason Annie Kemble's alive, sings, breathes.
My mom's just like,
she's like, what?
What the hell? But my dad, he played bass growing up a little bit.
Okay, yeah.
He and then he was like a boat mechanic and he sells boats now, so that's like his whole thing. He does play guitar now though. He takes lessons from my brother. But he is a huge music fanatic and just always had music on and 80s rock and all that. And he sings too. And he sings very loudly.
Is your mom musical as well? Or
she's not.
She just puts up with it, which is its own job.
Exactly.
Yeah.
She puts up with it big time.
Oh my gosh.
But she knows when something's bad, I feel like. She doesn't really sing or anything, but she'll tell me if she doesn't like something for sure, which I appreciate.
That's actually really helpful.
It is. I love when people tell me the problem with things. I'm like, please.
Great.
But and my older brother does music, and so I think, he was always going to guitar lessons and stuff, and then I took piano lessons as a kid. So we were just very musical from early on. But
I just related to that because, same thing. I talk about my dad a lot and how much he influenced me, and I just totally related to that story because I'm always like, but love you too, Mom.
Right.
They're divorced now. It is what it is. But what's funny is that feeling of growing up in a musical family. One side for me was singing at church, and then the other one's going home and listening to Pink Floyd. But all of that, feeds into this multi-genre, kind of really mix of, it's what makes your sound unique, even though it's made of all these influences that people are really familiar with.
Yeah. That's so interesting.
Yeah. I feel like it's the rainbow of, that makes you. It's all these layers of things.
You need multiple
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're just going to end up copying somebody.
Yeah, just copying.
The combination of different genres and influences like really like make you who you are as an artist. So it's so important.
And even doing covers in your own way.
Yeah.
And, again, using that to tell the story and show your breadth of... Because you, went to school for vocal performance, right? Or just music?
I was a voice major, but we had to, like, play piano and do classical and jazz. Piano and voice.
Yeah.
And then SWIC is such a crazy place. It's like you do like everything there, which is so awesome. And I'm like so thankful I went there. Afterwards I was like, wow, that was crazy. But now I'm thankful.
It was hard. I'm so glad I did it. Yeah.
Yeah. But I did take like arranging and like studio recording classes and stuff. They have like a really nice studio.
Oh, that's so helpful.
Yeah.
Because then when you're in the studio, I mean, it's nice to work with producers, but I like to do what you're doing where it's like half and half. You rely on the people around you that you trust to collaborate, but also having your own internal compass, I think is really important.
Yeah. And the language to communicate what you need is like huge.
So Pink Limousine, you mentioned, was going to have maybe some interludes, or can you give us like a sneak peek of, do you have some musical, like just instrumental portions, or what did that, how did it shake out?
So it starts out with a prelude, and the prelude kind of sets it up, and it's sort of carrying on the story from Dive Bar about this character, which is me, obviously, but like, who is she? And sort of like where she goes from the dive bar sort of thing, because I kind of wanted to keep it like consistent and sort of like cohesive as like all my projects. Like I feel like I want them to kind of all grow and like have it make sense like with me.
Yeah.
So it starts out, I feel like Dive Bar is more like, you can feel the setting that you're in, and it's like there's the sounds of the person walking and the door shutting and whatever. And I think that Pink Limousine is more like mentally, I don't know how to explain it. It's kind of hard to explain, but it's like sort of more like if Dive Bar like did drugs a little bit more. You know what I mean?
Love it. It may be like the dreamier version, right?
It's a little bit more of like a false world, I think, is kind of what I'm trying to say, is like sort of there's like this kind of struggle within the album between like fear and desire, and like releasing the fear in order to like get what you desire, and also like knowing that what you desire is not going to fix all the things that you fear. You know what I mean? So it kind of goes back and forth. So there's a prelude, and then it sort of goes into this first song that embodies fear in a way. And it's more like 70s psychedelic rockish leaning. Like Pink Floyd was one of like our big influences.
Yeah. Love it.
And then it's kind of like a paradox. It's like constantly contradicting itself in a way that's maybe frustrating, but also funny to me. I don't know. It's like, it's
like a real, you're in your head. I mean, that's how it is in your head. It's never one theme at a time. That would be great.
Exactly. Like sometimes I want this guy to pay for all my stuff, and the other time, like, I don't need it, you know? So it's kind of like flip-flop, back and forth. I mean, there's like a ton of like themes of money, religion, love, like just kind of like all the things that I like to sing about usually. But it kind of, I don't know. There's one song on there that's more like kind of country leaning, and it's sort of, we have just like some background singers on it, and it's very like dreamy, kind of like 60s-ish kind of. It's really fun. And pretty like existential in a way. There's some really surface level, some really kind of stuff in there. So
under the surface,
and
to the rabbit hole a little bit,
And then there's all kinds of stuff. There's 10 songs, and 2 interludes, but then towards the end, it's kind of more. There's like a Marilyn Monroe song about this throuple that she was in, and so my mom hates that one, and. And then there's another interlude that's kind of aimed towards Pink Limousine at the end. So
I love it.
Yeah, it's kind of
very cinematic, very
kind of like, just drama. Like I just love drama.
I love that journey though. I mean, I feel like I tend to write variations on a theme. I'd say I'm influenced a lot by emotions and things like that, but. I kind of like, you know, there's what I'm hearing from you is that it's almost a concept album, not in that it's a single concept, but it is the movie. It's the ups and downs and, you know, following that story.
Yeah.
With like a little bit of fantasy involved and a little, which is really appealing, you know, to me personally.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to listen to all of it. And, you know, I want to ask you too is, you know, how people consume music these days. There's so many single that just pumps out constantly because you can do that. You can record in your house, you can upload to Spotify and it's there in a week, you know.
Definitely.
But I think the feeling that I get from you, and correct me if I'm wrong, is that you still appreciate, you know, just like how you like movies over TV shows.
Yeah.
It's because of the full experience. So you're always going to do albums. I know that can change. I'm not going to hold you to it.
Yeah.
Is that how you feel? Do you really like enjoy that process?
I do. I love it. I love making a concept into something way bigger than it is. Almost it feels like being extra dramatic about something for a longer period of time. That's important to me, I think. I do. I love just like sitting down and consuming a beverage or a
perhaps.
Yeah, and just listen to an album like beginning to end, especially like an artist that like intended it to be listened that way. I love that. And
that's a lost art. I feel like.
I think it is a little bit.
Yeah.
But I think most of the biggest artists now still do that. And so I think that's something that like people look for still, even though like maybe like the people behind the business side of music aren't looking for that necessarily. I think that's something that like real like music fans listen to. Because I mean like Beyonce putting out these huge albums. Like she does like one single and then we'll do. I'm a huge Beyonce fan too. And that's her early stuff changed me.
Yeah.
She has like a lot of like pretty weird stuff going on in some of her albums that are like interlude-y and, you know, and I just like Tyler, the Creator has a lot of like full length albums coming out. And I just, I really like just the concept of it. I feel like it helps you like be an artist. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like the more content people, it's hard to say content. I hate that.
The C word.
The C word. I think just the more that people can like get latched onto you, like people want to like stay.
I think reminding people to take that moment too for themselves, to allow them to feel what you're feeling and follow on that journey.
Yeah.
You know, take the time. And we don't allow ourselves enough time for that, like at all.
Right.
For anything really.
But I think, like forcing yourself to like try to listen to something new is sometimes hard for me too. Like I find myself just listening to the same music sometimes.
Yes.
And then I'm like, Charlie XCX just put an album out and I just listen to it all front to back and I'm like, why don't I listen to new stuff front to back more? Like I'm like mad at myself. Even though I do it sometimes, it's like, I got to do this more.
No, that's true. That's true. I find myself stuck in the same thing. You know, you have your daily grind.
Yeah.
I think that's true. You know, something I find interesting as it relates to Trilix even is they're doing Atmos, like Dolby Atmos mixes here.
Yeah.
And I feel like that in a way, which for the listeners, it's like changing, it's spatial. It's almost like 3D sound is how I describe it. But I'm wondering if that'll kind of bring people back to that.
Yeah.
Because then you have to be purposeful about like the right headphones and things like that to listen to it.
Interesting. I love that.
It's pretty cool. You have to come back and do one. Like
yes.
Okay. Well, I'm Dee. I'm in the round with Annie Kemble. We are just like so pleased to have you here. It's been such a pleasure chatting and getting to know you. I am a big fan, as I mentioned, and I haven't met you yet. So it's like selfishly I'm so pleased that they asked me to do this for this reason, so I can finally catch up with all the people.
Yes. Well, you've been awesome. This is so fun.
Sweet.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks. And everyone, check out Pink Limousine, coming out July 1st.
Dancing upon the tables, white lines are my savior, as I can't balance on my own 2 feet well anymore. Not like before, I was so sweet then, I was so insecure, the kind of girl you couldn't love, the kind you couldn't change for. But I don't need you, I can't focus, my mind races till it is locust. Right down the street, underneath the light where we used to meet, I'm still wondering, I can't find you. You don't mean it, no it's not you. Tell me it's not you, just tell me the truth. I feel so far from my dream, taking pink limousine. Can you fix everything? I do need it, the lights blind me, but I don't mind if I can't see what's behind me. Lying dead in the backseat, I don't know money can't help me forget about all the pain they caused me, but I'll die trying. I'll die driving my pink limousine. Ooh.
In the Round is produced and recorded at Trilix Studio. Remember to subscribe to In the Round wherever podcasts are found.